Amara Okafor checked her watch and quickened her pace through the private terminal. The meeting with the Galactic Council was in 45 minutes, and she needed to board the shuttle within the next 10 minutes to make it on time. As the lead designer of Earth's first faster-than-light engine, she couldn't afford to be late. This meeting would determine whether humanity would be granted full trading rights with the Arcturus system. Her heels clicked against the polished floor as she approached the security checkpoint. 2 guards stood at attention, their uniforms crisp and their faces professionally blank. Behind them sat the sleek silver shuttle that would take her to the orbital station. "Good morning," Amara said, presenting her credentials and the official invitation. "Dr. Amara Okafor for the 10 a.m. council meeting." The taller guard, whose nameplate read Daniels, barely glanced at her documents before looking back at her with narrowed eyes. "I'll need to see some additional identification," he said. Amara nodded and pulled out her government-issued ID and her company badge. She was used to extra scrutiny. As the youngest person ever to lead a successful aerospace company, and the only black woman in charge of a major space technology corporation, she often had to prove herself repeatedly. "These credentials claim you're the lead designer of the FTL engine," Daniel said, his tone making it clear he didn't believe it. "That's correct," Amara replied calmly. "I founded Okafor Aerospace 8 years ago. We developed the engine in partnership with NASA and the European Space Agency." The second guard leaned over to look at her documents. "This can't be right. Dr. Okafor is supposed to be—" He stopped himself, but his meaning was clear. "I am Dr. Okafor," she said firmly, "and I'm going to be late for my meeting with the Galactic Council if I don't board now." Daniels handed the documents to his colleague. "Run these through the system again, Greg. I think we might have an impersonation attempt." Greg took the documents and walked to a scanner while Daniels blocked Amara's path to the shuttle. "Look, there must be some misunderstanding," Amara said, keeping her voice level despite her rising frustration. "Contact Admiral Wilson if you need verification. He's expecting me at this meeting." "I'm sure he's expecting Dr. Okafor, not—" Daniels gestured vaguely at her. Amara felt a familiar tightness in her chest. She had dealt with this kind of treatment before, but it never got easier. She took a deep breath and reminded herself that getting angry would only make the situation worse. "What exactly are you implying, Mr. Daniels?" she asked. "I'm not implying anything," he replied. "I'm stating that you don't match the profile we have for Dr. Amara Okafor, the aerospace engineer." "And what profile would that be?" Daniels shifted uncomfortably but didn't back down. "Someone like you doesn't design faster-than-light engines." Amara blinked slowly, making sure her neural implant was recording every word of this exchange. With a subtle eye movement, she sent a message to her executive assistant. "Facing issues at Terminal 3, prepare to initiate Protocol 7. Greg returned with her documents. "The system says these are authentic credentials, but there must be some mistake. Maybe there's another Dr. Okafor?" "There is no mistake," Amara said. "I am Dr. Amara Okafor, CEO of Okafor Aerospace and designer of the FTL-9 engine currently, powering that shuttle you're preventing me from boarding." Daniels crossed his arms. "Anyone can claim to be anyone these days. For all we know, you stole these credentials." The terminal doors slid open behind them, and a group of tall, blue-skinned figures entered. The Arcturus delegation had arrived. Their long limbs moved with fluid grace as they approached the checkpoint, their silver eyes taking in the scene. "Dr. Okafor," the lead Arcturian exclaimed, raising all 4 hands in the formal greeting reserved for respected scientists. "What? A pleasure to see you again. The Council is most eager to hear your presentation on the upgraded propulsion system." Daniels turned, his eyes widening at the sight of the alien delegation addressing Amara with such obvious respect. "Ambassador Zeltarik," Amara replied, returning the 4-handed gesture as best she could with her 2 hands. "I was just explaining to these gentlemen that I need to board immediately to make our meeting." The ambassador's silver eyes shifted to the security guards. "Is there a problem? The entire council is waiting specifically for Dr. Okafor. Her engine design has revolutionized interstellar travel. We cannot begin without her." Daniels looked from the aliens to Amara and back again, the color draining from his face. There seems to be some confusion about my identity, Amara explained to the ambassador. Despite my credentials, these officers don't believe I am who I say I am. The ambassador's expression shifted to one of confusion. But you are Dr. Okafor. We have met 3 times in the past year. Your neural signature is unmistakable to our kind. Greg stepped forward. Sir, we were just doing our job. The profile we have for Dr. Okafor doesn't quite match. Match what? The ambassador asked. Amara decided it was time to end this charade. She pulled out her phone and made a quick call. Patricia, please activate Terminal 3 Override Protocol. Authorization Okafor Delta 97. Seconds later, every screen in the terminal lit up with Amara's face alongside her credentials and accomplishments. The security system voice announced, Terminal Owner Override activated. Welcome, Dr. Amara Okafor. Daniels and Greg froze as they realized whose terminal they were standing in. Amara turned to them with a calm smile. Dr. Amara Okafor, CEO of Okafor Aerospace and owner of this facility. Now, if you'll excuse me, Ambassador Zeltarik and I have an important meeting to attend. As she walked past the stunned security officers toward the shuttle, with the Arcturian delegation following behind her, Amara made another subtle eye movement to send a message to her legal team. Incident recorded. Schedule meeting for tomorrow. Regarding Terminal 3 security contract. The shuttle door closed behind them, and Ambassador Zeltarik settled into the seat across from her. I do not understand what happened, the ambassador said. Why would your own species not recognize you as the brilliant scientist you are? Amara sighed. It's a long human tradition, Ambassador. Some people see only what they expect to see, not what's actually in front of them. A strange tradition, the Arcturian replied. And not very efficient. No, Amara agreed, looking back at the terminal as the shuttle lifted off. But sometimes these moments provide opportunities for necessary change. As the shuttle accelerated toward the stars, Amara began planning exactly how she would turn this unfortunate encounter into something positive. By the time they reached the Galactic Council station, she had already drafted the outline for what would eventually become the Okafor Protocol. The shuttle docked smoothly at the orbital station. Amara felt the slight shift in gravity as the artificial systems took over. Through the viewport, Earth hung like a blue jewel against the blackness of space. Ambassador Zeltarik stood with fluid grace ducking slightly under the human-sized doorway. The council is waiting in the main chamber, the ambassador said. They are most eager to hear about your new developments. Amara nodded and gathered her presentation materials. She had practiced this speech dozens of times, but meeting with representatives from 17 different alien species still made her nervous. The future of human space travel depended on this presentation. As they walked through the curved hallways of the station, Amara pushed the incident at the terminal to the back of her mind. She needed to focus now. The Galactic Council did not tolerate tardiness or unpreparedness. The main chamber doors slid open. Inside, beings of various shapes, sizes, and colors sat around a massive circular table. Some were humanoid, while others defied easy description. One representative appeared to be made entirely of shifting light patterns. Dr. Amara Okafor of Earth, announced the council chairperson, a tall, thin alien with gray skin and 6 fingers on each hand. We welcome you to this session of the Galactic Council. Thank you, Chairperson Zev, Amara replied with a slight bow. I am honored to be here. She took her place at the speaking platform, which adjusted to her height automatically. Her presentation appeared in the air above her as she activated her neural implant. A 3-dimensional model of her latest engine design rotated slowly for all to see. Members of the Council, as you know, Earth's first faster-than-light engine, has operated successfully for the past 2 years, Amara began. Today I present to you the next generation of this technology. For the next 40 minutes, Amara explained the improvements her team had made to the original design. The new engine was 20% more efficient and could travel 30% farther before needing to recharge. Most importantly, it produced significantly less radiation making it safer for both the crew and any planets they visited. The council members listened attentively, occasionally asking detailed technical questions that Amara answered with confidence. When she finished, Chairperson Zev looked around the table. The council will now vote on whether to approve Earth's request for expanded trade routes based on this new technology, Zev announced. One by one, the representatives indicated their votes. By the end, all 17 had voted in favor of Earth's proposal. Amara felt a surge of pride. This was a major victory for humanity. Congratulations, Dr. Okafor, Chairperson Zev said. Your species continues to impress us with your rapid technological advancement. The new routes will be officially opened within the next Earth month. As the formal part of the meeting concluded, several council members approached Amara to discuss specific aspects of her design. The Sidarian representative was particularly interested in the cooling system, while the Proximan ambassador wanted to talk about the potential for knowledge exchange programs. During these conversations, Ambassador Zeltaric pulled Amara aside briefly. I must ask about what happened at your spaceport, the ambassador said quietly. Is such treatment common for scientists on your world? Amara sighed. Not for all scientists. Just those who look like me. The ambassador's silver eyes flickered with confusion. Because of your skin coloration? We had studied human history and thought such primitive distinctions had been abandoned. Mostly, but not entirely, Amara replied. We've come a long way, but we still have further to go. Most concerning, Zeltaric said. The Arcturus Trading Committee will want to know about this incident. It raises questions about Earth's readiness for full council membership if your own people cannot recognize their scientific leaders. Amara hadn't considered that the incident might have diplomatic repercussions. Ambassador, while I appreciate your concern, I hope this isolated event won't affect relations between our worlds. Relations between worlds depend on mutual respect, Zeltaric replied. But do not worry. We will wait to see how your people address this situation before making any judgments. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Admiral Wilson, Earth's military representative to the Council. A tall man with graying hair and deep laugh lines around his eyes, he approached with a broad smile. Dr. Okafor, brilliant presentation as always, he said, shaking her hand firmly. The new engine design is exactly what we needed to secure those trading routes. Thank you, Admiral, Amara replied. It was a team effort. Always modest, the Admiral said, then lowered his voice. I heard there was some trouble at the terminal. Do we need to address it? I'll handle it, Amara assured him. But it might come up in diplomatic channels. Ambassador Zeltaric witnessed everything. The Admiral's smile faded slightly. I see. Well, I trust your judgment. Just let me know if you need any support. After 2 more hours of discussions and a formal dinner with the council members, Amara finally boarded the shuttle to return to Earth. As they descended through the atmosphere, she drafted a series of messages on her neural implant, preparing for tomorrow. First was a message to her executive team. Emergency board meeting, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Topic: Terminal 3 security contract. Next, a message to her PR department. Prepare statement regarding security protocols and potential new company initiative. Details to follow after morning meeting. Finally, a personal message to her head of human resources. Linda, please research the best diversity and inclusion training programs in the industry. Budget not a concern, priority level urgent. As the shuttle touched down at the terminal, Amara saw several of her company's security personnel waiting anxiously on the landing pad. Word had already spread about the incident. The head of her security team, Maya Bennett, approached as soon as Amara exited the shuttle. Dr. Okafor, we've been informed about what happened this morning, Maya said, clearly upset. Those guards have been removed from duty, and the security company has already sent 3 messages requesting an urgent meeting. Good, Amara replied, calmly. Tell their CEO, Richard Miller, that I'll see him at tomorrow's board meeting, 9 a.m. sharp. Yes, ma'am, Maya replied, and the recording from your neural implant has been secured as evidence. Amara nodded. Perfect, but I'm not interested in simply firing people, Maya. I think we have an opportunity here to create real change. What are you planning? Maya asked. Amara looked back at the terminal, the same one where she had been denied entry that morning. A smile slowly spread across her face. Something better than punishment, she replied. Something that might actually make a difference. As her car pulled around to take her home, Amara began mapping out the details of what would soon become known as the Okafor Protocol. By the time she reached her apartment, the outline was complete. Tomorrow would be a very interesting day indeed. Amara arrived at the Okafor Aerospace headquarters at 7:30 the next morning. The glass and steel building reflected the rising sun, making it glow like a beacon in the city skyline. She nodded to the security staff as she entered, noting how they straightened their postures when they saw her. Her executive assistant, Patricia, was already waiting with a cup of coffee. The boardroom is set up, Patricia said, handing Amara the coffee. Everyone will be here by 8:45. Mr. Miller from the security company called 3 times already this morning. He sounds very nervous. As he should be, Amara replied, taking a sip of the coffee. Have the legal team sent over the contract termination papers? Yes, they're on your desk. But they included a note saying that immediate termination would cost the company a significant penalty fee. Amara smiled. That won't be necessary. I have something else in mind. In her office, Amara reviewed her presentation once more. Unlike yesterday's technical briefing for the Galactic Council, today's presentation was about people, not machines. It outlined a new company initiative that had formed in her mind during the shuttle ride home. At precisely 9 o'clock, Amara walked into the boardroom. 12 people sat around the large table. Her executive team looked curious, while Richard Miller, the owner of the security company, looked like he hadn't slept all night. Keith Daniels, the guard from yesterday, sat beside him, staring at his hands. Good morning, Amara said, taking her place at the head of the table. I assume everyone knows why we're here. Richard Miller immediately started speaking. Dr. Okafor, please allow me to express my deepest apologies for yesterday's unacceptable incident. I take full responsibility, and I understand if you wish to terminate our contract. The employees involved have already been removed from their positions. Amara looked at Keith, who hadn't raised his eyes from the table. Mr. Daniels, she said, do you have anything to say? Keith finally looked up. His face was pale and dark circles ringed his eyes. I'm sorry, Dr. Okafor. I made assumptions that were wrong. I've lost my job, and probably my career in security. I don't expect forgiveness. Amara nodded slowly, then turned to address the room. Yesterday, I was denied entry to my own facility because Mr. Daniels and his colleague couldn't believe that someone who looks like me could be a scientist or a company owner. But this isn't just about me. She activated the large screen behind her, which displayed news headlines from across the globe and beyond. The incident had gone viral overnight. The Arcturus ambassador witnessed everything, Amara continued. He has expressed concerns about Earth's readiness for full Galactic Council membership if our own species can't recognize its scientific leaders regardless of their appearance. This is now a diplomatic issue as well as a corporate one. Richard Miller looked even more distressed. Dr. Okafor, we will do anything to fix this situation. Good, Amara replied, because I have a proposal. She changed the screen to show a new company logo with the words Okafor Initiative for Inclusive Excellence. Instead of simply firing your company and these employees, I'm proposing a different solution, Amara explained. Okafor Aerospace will create a comprehensive education and training program focused on eliminating bias in the aerospace industry. We will invest $50 million in this initiative over the next 5 years. The board members looked at each other, surprised but interested. And the first participants in this program, Amara continued, looking directly at Keith and Richard, will be your security team, with Mr. Daniels assigned to complete an intensive 6-month cultural competency course. Keith's head snapped up, in shock. You're not firing us? Firing you would be easy, Amara replied, and it would change nothing. I'm more interested in transformation than punishment. She changed the screen again to show details of the program. This course will be taught by a combination of human experts and visiting alien diplomats who have experience bridging cultural Differences. Upon completion, participants will be certified as cultural safety officers, a new position that I believe will become standard across all companies working with the Galactic Council. Richard Miller leaned forward eagerly. Dr. Okafor, this is incredibly generous. Of course we accept. I haven't finished, Amara said, raising a hand. The second part of my proposal is that your company will provide this training at cost to all other security firms working at spaceports across Earth. You will become the leaders in this field, with Mr. Daniels eventually serving as an instructor once he completes his own training. The room was silent as everyone processed this information. Linda Chen, the head of Human Resources, spoke up. This is brilliant, Dr. Okafor. Instead of a PR crisis, we're creating an industry-leading program that will actually solve the underlying problem. Exactly, Amara replied. And we'll invite the Arcturus ambassador to serve on the advisory board. This will show the Galactic Council that humans take these issues seriously and are committed to improvement. She looked at Keith again. Mr. Daniels, this won't be easy. You'll be examining your own biases publicly and helping others do the same. Are you willing to commit to this process? Keith straightened in his chair. Yes, Dr. Okafor, I am. I never thought about these issues before, but I'm ready to learn. Good, Amara said, because starting next week, you'll be working directly with my team to develop the curriculum. She turned to the rest of the board. I need unanimous approval for this initiative. The funds will come from our education and development budget, with no impact on our current projects. One by one, the board members voted. All were in favor. Excellent, Amara said. Mr. Miller, Mr. Daniels, my team will send you the details this afternoon. You're dismissed for now. After they left, Amara's chief financial officer, Frank Powell, shook his head in amazement. Most people would have just fired them and sued the company, he said. Why take this approach? Amara thought about the question for a moment. Because firing them would have given me satisfaction for a day. This program might create change that lasts for generations. As the meeting ended and the board members filed out, Patricia entered with a message. The Arcturus ambassador just called, she said. They've heard about your proposal through their Earth contacts. They're very impressed and want to meet to discuss their involvement. Amara smiled. Set up the meeting for tomorrow, and contact Admiral Wilson as well. I think the Galactic Council might be interested in adopting some of these protocols for all member species. Patricia nodded and left. Amara stood by the window looking out at the sky where, invisible from Earth, the Council's station orbited silently. What had started as an ugly incident was becoming something much more important. The Okafor Initiative might just change how humans saw each other, and how the galaxy saw humanity. 6 months passed quickly. Amara stood at the window of her office watching the construction of the new training center across the Okafor Aerospace campus. The building was almost complete, with its distinctive curved roof designed to resemble the Arcturus Embassy. Soon it would house hundreds of students learning about cultural awareness and bias recognition. The Okafor Initiative had grown beyond her initial vision. What started as a response to one incident had expanded into a global program. 23 countries had already adopted the training for their spaceport staff, and the Galactic Council had expressed interest in implementing similar programs on other worlds. A knock on her door interrupted her thoughts. Linda Chen, the HR director, entered with a tablet in hand. The final evaluation reports are in, Linda said. The first class is ready to graduate. Amara took the tablet and scrolled through the data. 25 security officers, including Keith Daniels, had completed the intensive 6-month training. Their assessment scores showed remarkable improvement in recognizing and addressing bias. What about Keith specifically? Amara asked. Linda pulled up his file. His transformation has been the most dramatic. The instructors say he's become one of the program's strongest advocates. He's requested to stay on as an assistant instructor for the next class. Amara nodded, pleased but not entirely surprised. Sometimes those who have the furthest to go end up traveling beyond everyone else. There's something else, Linda added. The Arcturus ambassador asked if Keith could be included in the security team for next month's engine launch ceremony. Apparently, They want to highlight him as an example of human capacity for growth. The launch ceremony was the most important event in Okafor Aerospace's history. After years of development, the new FTL-9 engine would power humanity's first long-range exploration vessel. Representatives from 17 alien civilizations would attend, along with Earth's political and scientific leaders. "What do you think?" Linda asked when Amara didn't immediately respond. Amara set down the tablet. "I think it's exactly the right, symbolic gesture. Tell the ambassador I approve." After Linda left, Amara checked the time. The graduation ceremony for the first class would begin in an hour. As the founder of the initiative, she was expected to give the keynote address. She gathered her notes and headed to the auditorium. The room was filled with graduates in their new dark blue uniforms, each bearing the Okafor Initiative emblem, a stylized image of Earth surrounded by stars of different colors, representing diversity across the galaxy. Family members, company employees, and even a few alien diplomats filled the audience seats. Keith sat in the front row. The nervous, defensive man from 6 months ago was gone. In his place was someone who sat with confidence and calm awareness. When he saw Amara enter, he stood and gave her a respectful nod. Richard Miller, the security company owner, approached her before she took the stage. "Dr. Okafor, I cannot thank you enough," he said, shaking her hand warmly. "What you've done has transformed not just my company but the entire industry. We've received security contracts from 3 more spaceports just because of our cultural safety certification." "I'm glad to hear it," Amara replied. "But the real test will be next month at the launch ceremony. The eyes of the galaxy will be watching." "We'll be ready," Richard assured her. "Keith will lead the team personally." The ceremony began with a welcome from Linda, followed by a speech from the Arcturus ambassador. Then it was Amara's turn to speak. She stood at the podium and looked out at the graduates. 6 months ago, an incident occurred that could have ended with anger, lawsuits, and fired employees. Instead, we chose a different path. She gestured to Keith and his classmates. These officers have spent 6 months examining their own biases, learning about cultures both human and alien, and developing new skills for ensuring everyone is treated with dignity. They are the first graduates of the Okafor Initiative, but they will not be the last. Amara spoke about the future of the program and its importance as humanity took its place among the stars. When she finished, the audience rose in a standing ovation. After the ceremony, Keith approached her at the reception. "Dr. Okafor," he said, his voice steady but humble, "I've wanted to tell you something for months now, but I needed to earn the right to say it." Amara nodded for him to continue. "What I did that day was wrong. Not just against company policy, but morally wrong. I judged you based on how you looked, not who you were." He paused. "The training helped me see biases I didn't even know I had. I'm a different person now, and I wanted to thank you for giving me that chance." "You did the work, Keith," Amara replied. "I just provided the opportunity." "I won't let you down at the launch ceremony," he promised. "My team has been preparing for weeks. It will be the most secure event in spaceport history." 4 weeks later, that promise was put to the test. The launch ceremony was the biggest event ever held at the Okafor Aerospace spaceport. The massive exploration vessel named Horizon stood on the launch pad, its sleek hull gleaming in the sun. Thousands of guests filled the viewing area, protected from the launch heat and noise by a transparent shield. Amara watched from backstage as Keith and his team efficiently managed security. They were professional and respectful with everyone, from human dignitaries to the more unusual alien representatives. When a misunderstanding arose with the Proximan delegation about their ceremonial weapons, Keith handled it with diplomatic skill, finding a solution that respected their customs while maintaining security protocols. Admiral Wilson joined Amara as they prepared to take the stage for the official launch. "Impressive operation," he said, nodding toward Keith. "Hard to believe. That's the same man who caused an interstellar incident 6 months ago." "People can change when given the right tools and motivation," Amara replied. The Admiral smiled. "The Galactic Council is impressed too. They've fast-tracked Earth's application for full membership." Your initiative was the deciding factor. Before Amara could respond, Patricia signaled that it was time to begin the ceremony. As Amara walked onto the stage to thunderous applause, she caught Keith's eye. He stood at attention, proud in his uniform, a symbol of how far they had all come. In that moment, as she prepared to launch humanity's future into the stars, Amara felt that perhaps the most important journey had already begun right here on Earth. 5 years passed. The massive space station hung in orbit around Earth, its circular structure reminiscent of the Galactic Council chamber. Solar panels extended like petals from its center, catching the light of the sun and converting it to power for the thousands of beings who lived and worked inside. The station, named Unity, was Dr. Amara Okafor's most ambitious project yet. Designed as a cultural exchange hub, it welcomed visitors from across the galaxy who came to learn about Earth and its people. Amara stood in the observation deck, watching a shuttle approach from the surface. Earth looked peaceful from this distance, a blue marble swirled with white clouds. Hard to believe that just 5 years ago, humanity had still been struggling to earn the trust of other galactic species. "The delegation from New Mars has arrived, Dr. Okafor," said a voice behind her. Amara turned to see Keith Daniels, now the chief of security for the entire station. His uniform bore the insignia of both Earth and the Galactic Council, marking him as an official representative of both. "Thank you, Keith," she replied. "Are the Arcturians ready for the ceremony?" "Yes. Ambassador Zeltaric is waiting in the main hall. The final preparations for Earth Day celebrations are complete." Earth Day had once been a small environmental holiday. Now it marked the anniversary of Earth's acceptance as a full member of the Galactic Council. The station would host representatives from over 30 different species, all gathered to celebrate humanity's rapid progress in interstellar relations. "And the new training center?" Amara asked as they walked toward the main hall. "Opening on schedule next week," Keith replied. "We've already received applications from 22 different species who want to learn the Okafor Protocol. The Council has officially adopted it as the standard for all new member worlds." Amara smiled at the term. She hadn't named it the Okafor Protocol herself. That had come from a journalist 3 years ago, and somehow it had stuck. Now it was taught in schools across Earth and on dozens of other worlds. They entered the main hall, a vast circular space with windows that provided a panoramic view of Earth below. Hundreds of beings moved about, some human, many not. Despite their physical differences, they all wore badges that indicated they had completed the Okafor Protocol training. Ambassador Zeltaric approached, raising all 4 hands in greeting. The Arcturian diplomat had aged over the years, the blue of their skin now tinged with silver. "Dr. Okafor, Chief Daniels," the ambassador said. "A momentous day. Who would have thought that small incident at your terminal would lead to all this?" Keith looked slightly embarrassed even after all these years. "I certainly never imagined I'd end up here." "That's precisely why your story is so powerful," the ambassador replied. "The Galactic Council uses it as a case study for all new member species. It shows how a civilization can transform its weaknesses into strengths." A chime sounded, indicating that the ceremony would begin soon. Amara excused herself to prepare for her speech. As the founder of both Okafor Aerospace and the Okafor Protocol, she was expected to address the gathered representatives. In her private office, Amara reviewed her notes. The speech was simple, but meaningful, tracing the journey from that day at the terminal to humanity's current status as a respected member of the galactic community. A message appeared on her screen. It was from the council chairperson, confirming that tomorrow they would vote on Amara's proposal for a new intergalactic university focused on cross-cultural understanding. If approved, it would be the first such institution founded by a human. There was a knock at her door. "Come in," Amara called. Patricia entered. Though now in her 60s, Amara's executive assistant had refused to retire, insisting on seeing the station project through to completion. "It's time," Patricia said, "and there's something you should see first." She handed Amara a tablet showing a newsfeed from Earth. The headline read, "Okafor Protocol adopted by last remaining nation. Global implementation now complete. Amara felt a surge of emotion. 5 years of work had finally achieved worldwide acceptance. What began as a response to discrimination had become a global and now galactic standard for respectful interaction between different cultures and species. "Are you ready?" Patricia asked, noticing Amara's silence. "More than ready," Amara replied, setting down the tablet. They walked together to the main hall, which was now filled to capacity. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors stood or sat according to their physiological needs. At the front of the room, a stage had been set up with representatives from each member species of the Council. Keith was already on stage in his role as Earth's security ambassador. He had traveled to 27 different worlds over the past 5 years, teaching the Okafor Protocol and learning about security practices from other species. The nervous, biased guard from the terminal was unrecognizable in this confident, respected diplomat. Amara took her place on the stage. The hall fell silent as she prepared to speak. "5 years ago, I was denied entry to my own facility because of how I looked," she began. "Today, we stand together in a space designed to welcome all beings, regardless of appearance or origin." She spoke about the journey, not just her own but humanity's. How Earth had transformed from a planet divided by prejudice to a world that now led the galaxy in inclusive practices. The Okafor Protocol was never just about preventing discrimination, she continued. It was about creating genuine understanding between different kinds of people, and now different kinds of beings. It was about holding up a mirror so we could see ourselves clearly, then choosing to become better. As she spoke, Amara noticed Keith watching with deep attention. Of all the success stories from the protocol, his was perhaps the most meaningful to her. Not because he had risen to such a high position, but because his transformation had been so complete and genuine. When she finished her speech, the hall erupted in applause, some beings clapping hands, others expressing approval in their own cultural ways. The sound was like a wave, washing over Amara and reminding her of how far they had all come. Later, at the reception, Keith found a moment to speak with her privately. "The reporter from Galactic News wants to interview us both," he said. "They're doing a special feature on the protocol's 5-year anniversary." Amara nodded. "What will you tell them when they ask about that day at the terminal?" Keith considered the question carefully. "I'll tell them it was the most important mistake of my life, and that I'm grateful every day that you saw something in me worth saving." Amara looked out at the diverse crowd, at humans and aliens mingling with ease and respect. "We saved each other, Keith. And maybe in some small way we helped save the future too." Outside the windows of the station, Earth continued its silent rotation, no longer just a home for humanity, but now a respected member of a vast galactic family. And it had all begun with one woman who, when faced with discrimination, had chosen to turn the tables in the most unexpected way. Not with revenge, but with transformation.